Hello everyone, this is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting live stream. Give me one moment at the beginning of these videos, it's always kind of slow because I gotta get the live chat set up. I have to edit the description, put in tags, things of that nature. But each day I'm getting better at it, and each day I'm trying to make it a little bit easier for myself and for you guys to be able to edit the tags in the description quickly. So I'm going to try and work on that. Anyways, I hope you all are having a wonderful day today. Today is January 31st, 2019. Today I'm going to be talking about yesterday, January 30th, 2019, going over everything that I did today, just going over the highlights and some of the basic stuff. I'm really excited to talk with you all. Of course, what I do is I edit the description and tags of the video. Then after that, I go over my day without reading the live chat. And then after that, I read the live chat, interact with you guys, and we have a full-on hangout. Yo, Ray King, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How are you doing today? Feel free to post in the live chat. I'd love to hear how you've been. It actually has been a minute since I've seen you on the streams. What have you been up to? Probably school, I'd imagine. Right now, I'm listening to music during the stream, which is something that I normally don't do. Uh, but I think it would be a good opportunity to listen to music. I just normally only listen to music between classes, and I was like, why not during the stream? I think it'd be cool. Also, the songs I'll be listening to, there's going to be a playlist link in the description. So if you guys would also be interested in listening to those songs, feel free to hit those up. Right now, I'm editing the description as I speak. This week's playlist has been straight fire. I think I'm getting better at only picking the best songs to put in playlist. Right now, as I said, I'm editing the description. I'm hoping that I didn't put too much information in the description. That happened the other day. Okay, so far it's good. I need to put the tags in the description. That'll be the real test of whether or not I put too much in there. So I'm gonna scroll down. Right now, I'm listening to No Hook by Jason Rich, which is pretty good. Jason Rich is a guy who makes beats. If you guys are familiar with Young Gravy, he's a rapper. Jason Rich has made Young Gravy beats in the past. No Hook is a song where he like produced the beat and he rapped on it, and it's really good. And as the title says, it has no hook, so he doesn't like add any extra filler to it or anything like that. Let's see. So I'm going to copy and paste. Copy and paste. Right now I'm working on the tags. Now the description is like pretty well done with everything that I did today written up. So now I'm gonna go to settings. This is definitely a people and blogs video. Hit save changes. Nice. So all changes are now saved. So now I'm gonna scroll down. Have the live chat on my screen. Make that screen a little bit smaller, but focus on the live chat. Hey, and then on the side I have everything I did today. Okay, cool. So now without further ado, I'm going to go over my day. Then after I go over each event of my day, I'm going to jump in and just talk with you guys in the live chat. But while I'm going over my day, I won't be looking at the live chat. I'll look at the live chat afterwards. So I went to bed after the stream. I woke up early and got ready for the career fair. There weren't a lot of government agencies there at the career fair, and everyone just requested that you apply online. I went to every government agency booth I could find and handed them my resume and transcripts. One I went to happened to have an on-site hiring manager, but then they weren't doing on-site interviews, which didn't make any sense. So in case you've never been to like a job fair or a career fair, on-site job managers are really cool. Hiring managers, because hiring managers, their whole job is that they hire and interview people. So when you go to a career fair and there are hiring managers there and you're able to talk directly with them, there's potential for you to get a job offer right then and there if you're qualified for the position. So some of the booths I went to had hiring managers, but they weren't doing interviews for whatever reason. I went to one and I talked directly to the hiring manager, and they said, "Yeah, we actually want to do a thing where you come down to like Tennessee. We get like a whole bunch of people together in Tennessee, and we'll try and like interview you there." And I was like, why so much extra? Like, why can't you're here? Like, why can't we interview here? And then if you're interested in offering me a position, then like invite me to go. It just feels weird. I talked to a hiring manager who actually is a hiring manager here at UAH, and she was telling people to just apply online as well. And I'm like, what? You don't even have like the same excuse as the other person who like their station is in Tennessee, so they want to interview in Tennessee. we're at UAH and you're talking to UAH students. You could hire somebody. I don't know. That's kind of weird. And then there was one other organization that I talked with, and I think the only reason why I couldn't get an on-site interview with that hiring manager is because he was hiring for a software development position that was based in programming languages that I don't use or don't have a lot of experience with. And because he saw that I had like a cybersecurity background, he really pushed for me to apply for a different thing that he can't hire an interview for. And that was a little upsetting, not gonna lie. Because even though he works with different programming languages, that doesn't mean that I lack the ability to like learn those programming languages. If anything, the programming languages that I do know show that I have like the aptitude to learn more. So I was really surprised when he was pushing away from that. I felt like that could have potentially led into an interview if he knew less of my cyber background. Yo, John Mason, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Right now, I'm just going over my day. So it's weird because this next note I wrote as today is Wednesday, but I know what I'm going for. So today is Wednesday, which means it's laundry day. So I bought liquid detergent for the first time. Normally I use pods, but I ran out and I didn't realize it. I started my laundry earlier than usual, which really helped me gain access to the machine. Sometimes when you go into the laundry room, since it's like a dorm laundry room, you can go in there and all the machines could be active, or most of the machines could be active. And today, especially, I needed as many machines as I could get. I had clothes from the DC career fair that I had in like a luggage bag that I'd forgotten about that I needed to wash. And Dad recently picked up that luggage bag, and when he did, I took all the dirty clothes out and I put them in the dirty clothes, and that was like a full extra load. Like I needed like another whole machine in order to like wash those clothes. So I'm glad that I went early so I would have access to enough machines to wash everything. And now I have more pants than I know what to do with. I don't think I'll ever have to wear a pair of pants I don't like ever again, which is not bad. It's pretty convenient. I now have a lot more black pants. I have a lot of black shirts, but there used to be a big imbalance between black pants and black shirts. Now I can have more actually jet black outfits, which my friend Ryan wears all the time. He actually wears all black, which is quite impressive. But let's see. Oh yeah. So I watched the R-Truth versus Rusev WWE match. R-Truth became the U.S. champion last night and had to fight to defend his title. He won his battle against Rusev and then immediately caught the hands of both Rusev and the previous U.S. champion. I'm not sure how long R-Truth is going to be able to hold that title, as he seems to be willing to fight anyone, whether he should or not. So it seems like he does like uphill battles a lot of times. Like he'll fight people who it seems like he has a high likelihood of like getting beat, but he fights through anyways. So it'll be interesting to see him keep the title. Like he's the U.S. champion, but at the same time, I feel like he's the underdog in every fight he's in. So that's an interesting like contrast. I wrote and performed an Exodia rap for the fan poll. The Exodia rap was called Exodia Outclass. If you want to check that out, that's currently on the channel. I finally read Superman #7. Now, I've been keeping up with Brian Michael Bendis' run of Superman for a hot minute, trying to make sure that I read each issue. Superman #7 came out last week, and I just got around to reading it. The issue felt really short, and a lot of the action was quickly glazed over. They had like two really big fights, and both fights were one panel fights. I'm not sure if I can like really convey how like shitty that is, but a comic book is made out of a whole bunch of panels that fill up one page. So imagine that like this much of the page is a whole fight. It was really shitty. There were two really big fights where it was like John, which is Superman's son, and Jor-El, Superman's father, facing off against tons of aliens. One was John and Jor-El versus the Dominators, and the other one was John and Jor-El versus Daxam Slavers, where they're fighting tons of aliens. All at once, it's just massive like space battle, and they were like they're gonna fight the Dominators. That's gonna be one panel, and then oh, they're gonna fight the Jackson Flavors. That's gonna be one panel. I thought that was really lame. Ray King says he has to go. Thank you for tuning in, Ray King. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope to see you next time on the stream. So yeah, it was really gross. That being said, as always, the issue ended with a great cliffhanger. Brian Michael Bendis is really good about making like solid cliffhangers. However, he's not always able to live up to the hype of the cliffhanger. So it makes you really interested in what the next book will be about, and then you pick up that next book, and it's just kind of ass. So I mean that happens. That happens quite a bit. Yo, Kels, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Right now, I'm still talking about my day. So the best part of the issue of Superman #7 was that Superman and his wife are treated as galactic royalty, which is something I'd never heard of before. But apparently, when aliens see like Lois Lane or they see Superman, they like treat them as if they're like a king and queen kind of thing. I could see that becoming like a whole arc in its own right, like watching Superman travel between not rules, travel between worlds and be treated differently. Because I don't feel like Superman wants that. Like Superman doesn't want to be treated as a king. So I feel like it would be like a unwilling thing where people would bow to him and he'd be like, "Please stand." Like, no, don't do that. Um, and I'm curious if that could eventually twist Superman and eventually make him accept like this kingly role over the galaxy. I think that would be nice to like see and experiment with in the future. Danica messaged the group me. I'm in a group with Danica for one of my classes and let us know that we have no class tonight. I haven't had any classes this week. So I don't have classes on Fridays, Saturdays, or Sundays, or Mondays. So I normally have a 4-day weekend. On Tuesday, we had a weather alert for potential snow. It didn't snow, but we still got the day off. And then Wednesday, which is the day I'm currently talking about, my teacher was sick for the one class that I have on Wednesdays. So because he was sick, we didn't have class tonight. So I've had almost an entire week worth of a weekend. I had a 6-day weekend. Fucking crazy. So that's been like rather enjoyable. It's given me a lot more time. I just kind of wish I knew ahead of time because every time we've missed a day or I haven't had classes, I've planned my day as if I did have classes and then I learn about it last minute, so it's not as relaxing as it could be. So it's been an interesting situation. Danica is still not feeling well. Her stomach has been really bothering her recently, but she says that if she feels better Saturday, that she'll be down for a date this weekend. We've already scheduled a time, so the main thing now will be whether or not Danica's stomach is feeling up to it when Saturday finally comes along. I finally finished listening to this week's SoundCloud Weekly. In the description box below is a link to my personal soundtrack for this week. These will be the songs that I'll be listening to all week until the next SoundCloud Weekly comes out, and it's the music that I'm listening to right now while doing the stream. So definitely check that out if you want to check out some of the music that I've been working on. Well, not working on, but listening to. Um, Black David came by to hang out earlier today, and we played Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. The best matches were between Mai Zabuza and his Hokage Kakashi. Not only did it feel like a canon fight, considering that they did both fight early on in the anime, but the matches were pretty close too, so it was rather enjoyable. I love close fights in fighting games. Whether you win or lose, if it's a close match, it feels like you both tried your hardest. After David left, I took a good nap before reading Action Comics number 1007. That's right, there are over 1,000 Action Comics issues, which is pretty impressive. I think Batman is getting close to its 1,000th issue. Well, not Batman, but Detective Comics. It had a good cliffhanger, of course. I mean, it was written by Brian Michael Bendis. He's like the god of cliffhangers. And it had an interesting B plot with Jimmy Olsen. He's dating a cultist, and he didn't realize it, and he doesn't know who to talk to about it. Other than that, the book wasn't anything to call home about, though. It spent too long focusing on a Lois Lane subplot that I could care less about like her revealing Superman's identity to her father, and it just wasn't really that interesting. Yo, Dragon Ball super fan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Brr, 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 brr. Right now, I'm talking about my day. Let's see. Also, don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. Truly appreciate it. Flash number 63, I read that as well. was really good. I gave that a 10 out of 10. It gave us a lot of new information about the multiverse and an upcoming war that could threaten to destroy it. It had a great cliffhanger, and it wasn't written by Brian Michael Bendis, at least I don't think it was. It was a solid book, and it had wonderful pacing. I also read Wonder Woman number 63. It told a delightful story that on paper looked like a B plot, like it looked like something that wouldn't be really important to like the main story, but when read is clearly part of the main story. It's actually important that you read it, and I'm excited to see more tragically comedic adventures of exiled gods roaming the earth. Because that's what Wonder Woman number 63 is about. There are these exiled gods who are these weird magical creatures who are just trying to live a normal life in a modern city. But it actually is a really solid story that ties into like what the Wonder Woman book is currently about. So I really fucked with it. I watched an NXT women's tag team match. Now, NXT in WWE focuses on wrestlers who they think are going to be like the next big thing. And becoming like the NXT champion eventually leads into becoming like a mainline WWE wrestler. Give me one moment, I'm going to drink some water. There we go. That hit the spot. So, Kairi Sane and Io Shirai are two, I believe, Asian female wrestlers who are on a tag team group that I think are called the Flyer Pirates or the Pirate Flyers, something like that. And they're fucking crazy. I love it. They did a crazy maneuver where they confused an opponent by bouncing around the ring. So you know how like a wrestling ring is surrounded by ropes? They were like bouncing off the ropes, going in different directions, sliding under the opponent and shit like that. And the opponent's looking around the ring, trying to like keep up with all the fighters. And then while the opponent is turned around, they both come in from behind and simultaneously drop kick them in the back. And I was like, what? What? I've never seen some shit like that in my life. It was just like a really like solid move. And I was like, ooh, they're up next. I feel like they're gonna kill it. Um, so the next tag team fight that I watched from WWE NXT, it was a dude tag team match. The Street Profits versus the Forgotten Sons. And the Forgotten Sons is a good ass name because I don't remember shit about the Forgotten Sons because the Street Profits fucking stole that show. The Street Profits are great to watch. One of them more or less just boxes everybody. Like he lifts his fist up. Also, real quick, I'm gonna change the music. It played the old playlist that I made like last week or whatever. I'm past that old shit. I'm ready for this new music that I've like found. Okay, so one of the guys in the Street Profits, he straight up lifts his hands up like this, and he just goes and just punches people in the face. I'm like, what? Nobody does that. That's not wrestling. Because most people in WWE when they punch, they do the hard, exaggerated like. Seth Rollins is really like famous for that. It's called like his Superman punch. He jumps in the air and winds back and then just really hard. This guy's doing like straight up like jabs to the face. He's just like fucking like hitting people. And there was a period where he was in the ring facing off against both people on the other tag team. And as they would run up to him, he would be like, bop, 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 just like weaving in between them and shit. And I'm like, this is just a different sport. I don't, does he know that that's not how this works? He was just fucking killing it. But not only is he like just a straight up savage in the ring, one of his, well, not one of his tag team like team member, he fucking runs across the ring, backflips over the ropes, not off of the ropes. He doesn't climb on the ropes and jumps. He runs across the ring and backflips over the ropes and body slams his opponent, landing back first on an opponent that's outside of the ring. And they both crash into the ground. And I was like, whoa, I thought I saw some crazy shit with the fucking double dive kick from like the Flying Pirates. A lot of times they don't do mixed matches in WWE, like they don't do like women versus men, but Street Profits versus the Flying Pirates, that shit would be fire. I'd watch that. I think Street Profits versus the Flying Pirates would be crazy as fuck. So I wrote and filmed 5 comic book reviews. I should have that video mildly edited and uploaded to the channel soon. I also watched a rhyme style video on Videl and Jiren being in Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Videl has a juicy sidestep move that she can do to dodge attacks, and Jiren can use his counters to hit confirm into supers. So, a hit confirm, in case you're not aware, whenever you use a super in a fighting game, as long as it's not a grab, that super can be blocked by your opponent. So, a lot of times you want to make sure that your opponent is open so that you can like hit them with the super without them blocking. And a good way to make sure that your opponent is open is to hit them first and make it where they don't have time to block because they've been hit by your attack, and then super. So what I saw in the footage is that Jiren was able to counter his opponent's attack and immediately super afterwards. So he can use his super defensively by essentially setting up the counter. Then when your opponent attacks, you can punish them with like the ultimate punishment. There's also this thing called scaling in fighting games where the longer a combo is, like the more hits in a combo, the weaker the damage becomes to keep someone from just killing you in one really big combo. So the less moves you can put in front of a super, the more damage a super can deal. So if you hit someone with a super without doing anything before it, they call it using a raw super, because it deals the most damage without having any scaling. So by having Jiren do his counter into the super, it's not raw because of the fact that he does one move before it, but it's like as close to raw as you can get. It's just a really safe super. I got kind of hyped when I saw that. I was like, oh shit. So I'm really excited to see like how that's gonna go with Jiren being able to counter confirm into supers. Also, I'm not a fan of Jiren's dub voice. I think Jiren's dub voice is kind of gross. Um, I watched the Dragon Ball Super anime in Japanese, so whenever I hear the English voices, I'm always like, the fuck is that? So Jiren's dub voice was kind of eh for Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Other than that, I like exercised, ate, showered, and I started up the live stream. I mean, that's pretty much just everything that I've done today. So now that I've gone over my day, I'm ready to read through this live chat and answer any questions that you guys may have had. So let's see. John Mason said, just woke up. Hey, welcome back to the land of the living, John Mason. It's good to have you on the stream. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. Then Ray King said, Aichi Sendo. Aichi Sendo is such a familiar ass name. I'm really bad with names, especially in anime. I normally remember people by their powers. So when I hear Aichi Sendo, I'm like, he's from an anime. He's from Vanguard. He's the main character in Vanguard. It took me a hot minute to remember him. John Mason said, when you said DC Career Fair, even though I know what you mean, I first thought you're getting a superhero job. Oh, that would be fucking dope. A DC Career Fair get picked up by the Justice League. Ray King then said, or Truth, in reference to the wrestler name. Then John Mason said, what the fuck, one panel? I know. I don't understand what Brian Michael Bendis was thinking. Making a comic that has two huge action scenes and then condensing them into just nothing, more or less. Kel said, what up, fam squad? Yo, Kel's welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Kel said, which of the Yu-Gi-Oh animes are your favorite? Mine's obviously Arc V. I really fucked with Zexal, to be honest. Zexal was what got me into the game, like to actually start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm going to say Zexal's my favorite, even though I've never finished Zexal. The most I've ever seen of any of the anime was actually the original series. I got all the way to season 5, but I haven't finished season 5. And then when it comes to the manga, I've only ever shown interest in the GX manga. I've read quite a bit of it, but I never finished it. John Mason said Arc V as well, but the Star Wars really crappy in my opinion. Oh, but the start was really crappy in my opinion. I see what you're coming from. Um, for Arc V, I've only seen like the first few episodes, but I'm hype for when they introduce like the Starving Venom stuff. That's what actually got me interested in it. I started playing Starving Venom on Dueling Nexus, and people were telling me like, "Hey, that's played in the anime, and there's this whole thing about alternate universes that focus on different special summoning types and shit." I was like, "Oh, that sounds really cool." If anyone can tell me when that starts, like what episode I need to start watching it to when they get into like the multiverse stuff, I think I'd be really interested in watching from that point forward. Let's see. Then Dragon Ball Superfan said, Sup, Nick? Yo, Dragon Ball Superfan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button if you haven't already. Truly appreciate it. I don't know what's up with the stream, but for whatever reason, it doesn't show the like button counter update anymore. This has been an issue for the last few days, and I just don't know why. So I now never know how many likes the video has or doesn't have. Kel said, I'm currently making Player Armor Dual Disc. Ballin'. I'm excited to see your progress on the different Player Armor cards. Okay, let's see. Scroll down. John Mason said, cool, I'm curious. And he said, oh yeah, saw the Broly movie yesterday. What were your thoughts on the Broly movie? I think I shared my thoughts on the Broly movie a few days ago during a stream. But I can pull up my notes on the Broly movie now just to like make sure that if we start talking about it that I can like refresh myself on my thoughts. So let's see, let me scroll through. Boom, boom. Kel said, totally gonna play Videl. If I decide to actually buy any DLC, I'll hit up Videl. I feel like Videl is the one I'm most curious about. I only lightly mentioned her sidestep, but it's weird that Videl has a move that lets her do this. This is all it does. It doesn't hit the opponent, it's not a counter. Essentially, what it does is if you time this move correctly, you'll dodge an opponent's attack. It's not a block, it's a dodge. So if your opponent tries to hit you, you just ease straight past that shit, and then you ba-da-da-da, straight slide your opponent. But the straight slide isn't built in because it's not a counter. It's not a thing where you dodge and you automatically get a hit. It's you dodge and then you can hit out of it. And I'd be very curious to see that move be used and watch someone just go like, just keep dodging opponents' attacks and then getting in really hard. I feel like that'd be incredibly dope. Let's see. So let me scroll through. Kel said, oh, wait, I already read that. Then Dragon Ball Superfan said, I saw it on Monday. So, John Mason, what were your thoughts on the Broly movie? And Dragon Ball Superfan, what were your thoughts on the Broly movie? John Mason said, oh, cool. How was it for you? Kel's retracted a message. I don't know what he said. Then Dragon Ball Superfan said, it was awesome. Then John Mason said, I feel like that move Goku used on Broly, no spoiler, but you know what I mean, was pretty sick. But I love how Broly turned it around. Excuse me. What you're mentioning, I actually put in my pros list for Dragon Ball Super Broly. So I also agree that that new technique that Goku demonstrated, no spoilers, was like one of the best moments of the movie. I really loved the transformations in this movie. I feel like they were very stunning. Specifically, the transformations we already seen, I actually wasn't as impressed with the new transformations demonstrated by Broly, I mean. Then Dragon Ball Superfan said, yeah, same. Then Kel said, Jet, can you send me the image you used for the player armor cards on Amino? Like all of them? I can try. I'm curious if I name them or not. We'll see. Then John Mason, I think right before season 2 is when Arc V starts introducing the multiverse stuff. Okay, ballin'. Also, Kels, can you remind me to do that at like a later date? Maybe like post a comment or send me a message on Amino about it. I just know that right after the streams, I normally go like straight to bed, so I probably won't be like awake to do it like right after the stream. I'm probably gonna be like just not out. Dragon Ball Superfan said Broly should have been in the Tournament of Power. I totally disagree. So I watched a video by Laughingstock Media earlier today that was like, how would Broly have done in the Tournament of Power? And they mention it for a brief moment, but they don't talk about how important it is. That Broly like can't control himself and that he's in like unending rage kind of thing. In the Tournament of Power, I feel like Broly would have just like indiscriminately hit people out of the ring regardless of who they were, and because of this, he would have probably knocked out a lot of the members of Universe 7's team, and that wouldn't have been advantageous for Universe 7. Because essentially he's a team member that you can't trust because he can't control himself and he's stronger than everybody else. Mm. Kel said, I don't know. And then he said something? I don't actually understand what he said. Exactly? Oh, I don't know exactly what episode it starts. I just know it's when they go to the synchro dimension. Okay, interesting. John Mason said lol, and then he said also seeing Goku scream like that was a bit confusing but epic. That was actually one of my favorite moments as well. I'm curious. I had like five favorite moments. John Mason, did you have the same five? Because you've named two out of the five. There are only three more. Let's see. Dragon Ball Super fan said Vegeta finally became a Super Saiyan God. So Vegeta actually has already done that in the manga, and it's confused a lot of people. One thing that I want to make really clear, because I keep hearing people say it, but it's not a confirmed thing. I keep hearing people say that Vegeta either is able to attain Super Saiyan God without doing the ritual, or that at some point that we've never seen, Vegeta has done the ritual. I'd say it's not safe to assume either one. Either one could potentially be true, but we just don't know. So I wouldn't go around telling people that yes, he did skip straight into the form and he didn't have to do the ritual, or that he did do the ritual but we just never saw it because we just honestly don't know the answer to it. I only brought that up because I just keep hearing it. I just keep hearing one or the other. I just feel like neither one's true until like they tell us one of them is true. John Mason said, because I'm pretty sure Goku wouldn't scream so much from that, but it was oddly satisfying. I liked it because it was a really suspenseful moment where I finally felt like, like Goku could die. One thing that happens a little too often is that Goku will step through his individual forms trying to gauge how strong an opponent is. So he'll go like up one form at a time, but he normally isn't punished for being in a weaker form. And I think that's something that people like need to pay more attention to. Like we know that when Goku goes up to his strongest form, he can handle most people. But when he does that fucking stepladder bullshit, it's just a matter of time before he fights someone who's way stronger than him and he just gets hit and he's unable to go higher on the ladder. Like imagine Goku versus like Superman or something, right? And Goku goes like Super Saiyan 1. Superman's probably a bad example. Maybe like Sentry or Captain Atom, someone who's just like really uber tier powerful, or like Alien X or some shit. Goku goes Super Saiyan 1 trying to like see if he could beat them, and then he just gets mollywopped where he could have, if he went up to his like strongest form first, like beaten them, maybe, depending on like his power level versus the people that he's fighting. Um, but because he's at that lower level, they can like beat him, and if he doesn't like increase his power, then he just isn't able to be on the same level. So let's see. Where am I at currently? Okay, so Kel said, no, sorry, I meant to send me the background you use for them. Oh, the background? I'm gonna have to look to see if I still have that. That actually is like an interesting request. John Mason said, lol. He said, nah, but when Vegeta fought Broly first, that was amazing. He said, I loved how Vegeta was all like folding his arms too. So the Vegeta fight actually wasn't one of my highlights. That was my friend Chase's big thing. Chase was like, you're gonna love the Vegeta fight. But I actually didn't care for the Vegeta fight that much, mainly because Vegeta is just so far above Broly, like in skill level. It essentially was a thing where Vegeta could just keep stepping up, and he always was one step ahead of Broly. Whenever it seemed like Broly was going to get the jump on him, Vegeta would just assert his dominance by like going up to a higher form. I just felt like Vegeta wasn't really challenged. He was pushed, but he wasn't challenged, if that makes sense. So I didn't feel the same impact that I did when Broly was fighting Goku, because I felt like Goku was challenged. I do feel like Goku had to push himself beyond. Also, I noticed that Ryan jumped into the live chat. Yo, Ryan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Make sure to smash that like button if you haven't already. Kel said, I disagree. I don't think he did the ritual. I think he trained with Whis, and it gave him God Ki. And then he said, I don't have any actual evidence though, so I can't debate you on that. So I'm not sure if he did the ritual. I'm not sure if he somehow was able to just skip into the Super Saiyan God form. When it comes to Super Saiyan Blue, things are a little bit more clear because it seems like the anime really tries to push the idea that training in Whis' staff, learning how to like hold in your ki and like try and use your ki as efficiently as possible without letting it seep out, is how you attain Super Saiyan Blue. So that's like a big like Super Saiyan Blue thing. But when it comes to attaining Super Saiyan God, like the Super Saiyan God form, I'm less clear on how Vegeta like got that. So I wouldn't say that he did the ritual off screen, and I wouldn't necessarily say that he somehow gained the ability without the ritual. I would say until we know for sure, it's just kind of up in the air. You know what I mean? So then John Mason said, I like when Broly punished Frieza, lol. He said, as for fifth favorite scene, I'll have to think about it, but it's likely the backstory scene being told right. So the backstory portion is actually my fifth favorite. Um, I think you named, I think you've only not named two of my favorite scenes. You named the backstory portion. The backstory portion I thought was going to be like the most boring part of the movie, but then I watched it and I was surprised at like how good it was. So the backstory portion I really dug. So we both got that one. You mentioned the Goku screaming thing. That actually was one of my favorite moments in the five. You mentioned Goku's new technique. That was another moment in the five. So there are two moments that you didn't really mention that were my other favorites. Oh, also, it's just playing different music suddenly, like not even from my playlist. So I need to get it corrected, get it back on my soundtrack for the week. Worked hard on that soundtrack. Let's see. And then John Mason said, and in detail. Yeah, I do feel like they did a really good job on the backstory. Chase actually hated the backstory part. He was not a fan of it. I enjoyed it. I felt like they did a good job. They kept it entertaining, and to me, it didn't slow down the movie as much as I thought it would have. Then Ryan said, Batman's duck, and then he posted a whole bunch of ducks. Batman has a variety of pets. I wouldn't be surprised if Batman had a bat duck. John Mason said, oh, and when they sort of broke reality, I was confused, but I like that Goku was confused too. So, them breaking reality, I think, is kind of dumb. Not gonna lie. And it's only because Goku has been in so many fights where I feel like that should have happened already. Yo, Tenzin, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. Don't forget to smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Because back when like Majin Buu screamed in the hyperbolic time chamber, he was able to like break a rift in reality. You know, like that's something that these characters should have been capable of doing since like that period, like near end of Z. In Dragon Ball Super, it's so rare that you see anyone break reality. I'm gonna try and like name all the times I can remember off the top of my head. Goku Black had moves where he could tear rifts in reality, and of course Goku Black eventually just became his universe. You know, he has some pretty hack shit like in his toolkit. But Goku Black kind of breaks reality when he makes like his riffs, and then Cocoette, who's one of my favorite Pride Troopers, she instead of just making like force field bubbles, made pocket dimensions that essentially were just force field bubbles the way they were treated. But the way that she described them is that within those bubbles is like as its own dimensional space, and the only way to break out of those is to be strong enough to break through dimensions. So when they broke Cocoette's like force field like dimension things or whatever, that was like them breaking reality in a way. And I think those are the only times we've ever seen it happen in Super. That and the Broly movie. Now, there was the Battle of God shit where Goku and Beerus were fighting, and they were like, if they keep fighting, then they're going to like tear apart reality. But that was different. There's a difference between like breaking reality as in like you break through a dimension into another one. The way they were talking about the Goku versus Beerus fight, they were like, the universe itself is going to end if they keep fighting, which is different. That wasn't the same kind of thing. So let's see. So where am I at? Kel said, yeah, I think Super Saiyan Blue basically gives you God for free. I'm not going to assume that. And he said, well, not for free because you still get Super Saiyan Blue, but still. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say that Super Saiyan Blue gives you God for free. Until they straight up say that, I don't accept that as a real answer. John Mason said Bat Duck, lol. And then Tenzin said, hey, Nick, yo, Tenzin, welcome to the stream. Good to have you. Don't forget to smash, 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 smash that like button. Truly appreciate it. Then John Mason said, yes, it is. Then Kel said, because Super Saiyan Blue is just Super Saiyan God plus Super Saiyan. So, until the Broly movie, that explanation made no fucking sense. Like, back in the day in Resurrection F, when they were like Super Saiyan Blue is just going Super Saiyan while being Super Saiyan God, that didn't make any sense. Because back then they kept claiming that his base was on the level of Super Saiyan God. So you'd be like, oh, so if he's already Super Saiyan God all the time, and then going Super Saiyan while Super Saiyan God gives you blue, then why is it that he can go Super Saiyan without going blue all the time? That didn't make any sense to me, and I was very confused by that. This movie, the Broly movie, is the first time where I feel like Super Saiyan Blue, the way they described it, makes sense because it shows Goku in Super Saiyan God essentially go Super Saiyan. It shows the yellow aura, like it shows like the him going Super Saiyan kind of thing while in Super Saiyan God, and it shows him transfer to blue. It looked the most like what they described, and I was like, oh, that's what they meant. Because it sure didn't seem like that in any other version. Because most of the time he just goes straight in the blue without having to go God. It's like normally not a stepping stool. So that them showing it as a stepping stool, like him like going from red to blue, I really appreciate it because it's like, oh, they're like confirming that actually feels like what his form is like. That's dope. Because every other mention of it, like showing them transform, has been the hold your key in. You hold your key in, and then by keeping it in your body and going Super Saiyan, you like go blue. The hold your key in thing, by the way, is such a big deal in the manga, but in the anime, it's just kind of there. In the manga, it's such a big deal that like they have mastered Super Saiyan Blue, and mastered Super Saiyan Blue, there's no aura around it. Like you've made your key so efficient, you don't emit an aura because that's useless. That's like a waste of your key. I was like, ooh, like they're like really pushing like the logic of it to try and like give them new forms and shit. Let's see. John Mason said, that's why I'm confused. So many fights. Excuse me. Then Dragon Ball Super fan said, I like the part when Goku went Super Saiyan Blue going against Broly, making the graphics higher. Um, so I do like the transformations. The transformations were actually the other two things on the pros list. The Super Saiyan God transformations were stunning for both Goku and Vegeta, and Goku's Super Saiyan Blue transformation, which we just talked about, is one of my really big pros because it's the first time where it looked the way it was described. So I definitely agree that the transformations are pretty dope. I'm actually not a big fan of the CGI scenes, though. I feel like the only CGI scenes that really worked were when they broke reality, because I understood using a different animation style while in that, like, alternate dimensional space. Ryan said, not a fan of Dragon Ball GT, not gonna lie. He said episode 1 was lame. I actually skipped the first few episodes of GT because of the fact that the first few episodes of GT are lame. I'd recommend jumping in maybe at the baby arc and working forward. But if you don't fuck with that, I'd recommend jumping in at the Super Android 17 arc and working forward, then working backwards after that. I think that's more or less how I watched it. I think I watched Super 17 arc all the way to the end, and then I might have watched after that the arc that came before Super 17 Baby, and then just didn't watch the rest of it. It's not too hard to understand. Like, I feel like you'd be fine if you did that. John Mason said, lol, darkness. Then Kel said, well, the thing is that Boo had to hecka hard to rip a hole in reality, but Gogeta and Broly are so thick, they did it casually. Kale was so thick in the Tournament of Power, she could power up while inside of Cocoette's like alternate dimension, and she broke it by powering up. Her aura just burst out, and then it broke through a dimension. That's thick. I'm just saying. Broly and Gogeta, they like clashed punches, and it broke reality. Fucking Kale just goes psh, and not like as hard as like Boo, because Boo did have to scream hella hard to break through reality. Kale just does it, bam, you know. Then Ryan says Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan or Salian. You said Salian. That didn't go out as hard as Slan. Kel said they absorbed the power and God key of Super Saiyan God, not like the form itself. so he can go Super Saiyan God without going Super Saiyan Blue. Well, no, so he can go Super Saiyan without going Super Saiyan Blue. I feel like having God Ki and being able to transform into Super Saiyan God aren't necessarily the same thing. Because if that was the case, then I don't understand why the God ritual would be needed to like achieve godhood. You think you could just learn how to do it. That's what I think is weird about that. Because when they asked Shinron in Battle of the Gods, like, how do you become a Super Saiyan God? He doesn't go like hold your key in, fucking just use your key more efficiently, and you now have God key. He goes to achieve like Super Saiyan God, like you do the ritual. So, like I said, until the anime or the manga straight up says why it is Vegeta can go Super Saiyan God, then we shouldn't really assume anything. We shouldn't assume that he did do the ritual. We shouldn't assume that he didn't do the ritual. We should just see, how the story like unfolds itself over time. But you were trying to explain why he can still go Super Saiyan even with like the God Key like unleashed. Um, I still feel like that's a weird answer. Like, my rationale for it is a little bit headcanon, but they made it very clear that Goku still can go Super Saiyan God. So, because Goku can still go Super Saiyan God, the part where they're like, that God power is in your base, I think that's them more or less saying that Goku had like a Zenkai during the Beerus fight, and that Goku is like stronger than he was before the fight with Beerus, after the fight with Beerus, but that the God form is still like its own respective thing, which is why he can still go Super Saiyan, because as long as he's not in the God form and he goes Super Saiyan, he can go Super Saiyan normally without going blue. But if he is in the God form and he goes Super Saiyan, then he'll become Super Saiyan Blue Goku. At least that's how like I rationalize it. Let's see. John Mason said when they realize their most powerful form is the future, their most powerful form in the future turns them bald, and they're finally ready to confront One Punch Man. That would be interesting to have like a Super Saiyan bald form. Super Saiyan 3 gets rid of your eyebrows. Maybe you lose more hair as you like exceed. Mm. Let's see. John Mason said, yeah, didn't like the CGI scenes. They felt off. Agreed. I think it's because it's like Fighter Z quality graphics. Because what they wanted to do is they wanted to do these like huge destruction scenes where they show like the environment blow up, and it's a lot easier to do stuff like that in CG. But the issue is the CG doesn't like mesh well with the 2D animation. They tried to find like a happy medium, but it just didn't work. It was very clear when it was CG versus when it was not CG, and it was jarring, and it kind of breaks your immersion into the movie. So I agree. I didn't really vibe with the CGI scenes at all. That's one of my three cons. Can you guys figure out what all three of my cons were for the movie? Ryan said, I've only seen episode one. He said, not going to watch it. Fair enough. Excuse me. John Mason said, Nick, do you realize how long Broly beat up Frieza for? Like over an hour and a half. Yeah, I thought that was really stupid. Because it doesn't make sense that Frieza would be able to hold his own against Broly like that. Um, and by hold his own, I mean like not die. Because Broly has no reason to hold back against Frieza. Broly's just pissed, and he's just willing to like beat the shit out of anybody. You know what I mean? So he's just flying in, just. So I think Frieza would have died if he fought for like an hour and a half. I mean, fuck. How long was the Tournament of Power? Like 48 minutes or something? Broly is like fighting harder than like Jiren and Goku in them. They didn't even like fight at their like highest power for that long. You know what I mean? So that's quite interesting. The fact that he beat up on Frieza for so long. John Mason said because they had to repeat the fusion 2 times. I think. You're right. That's just actually true. Ryan said, "Blue goo, dude. Blue goo." Then there are just a bunch of retracted messages. So a retracted message from Kels, then two from Ryan, then two from Kels, then one from Ryan. I don't know why so many messages got retracted. I'm almost done with this water. Kel said, I think Frieza can last for a while, but Whis came in at the end before Frieza could get oofed. John Mason said, Nick, to read retracted messages, you must open your mind. Then if I wasn't held by these headphones, I'd go get my How to Be Psychic book. Do a third eye exercise. Ooh. Right now, I'm still listening to my playlist for this week. Feel free to check out the playlist if you're interested. The link is in the description box below, but I'll also post it in the live chat. That's just my soundtrack for the week. The music that I'm going to be listening to until Monday when the new SoundCloud Weekly comes out, and then I got to make a new playlist. I'm going to make a playlist like this every week in order to try and keep listening to new and interesting music and to train SoundCloud to only recommend good songs to me. That's the goal, at least. Mm. But John Mason, it looks like you're getting ready to talk about your dislike scenes, the scenes that you liked the least about Dragon Ball Super Broly. Feel free to hit me up on the scenes that you didn't vibe with as much. Also, just to keep you guys posted, 10 minutes left in the live stream, so feel free to ask me any questions that you may have. I'll be more than happy to oblige you. Let's see. While we're doing that, I'm going to see if I can find those player armor backgrounds. Excuse me. Kel said I had this idea for the ritual future monsters, who would be also a pendulum monster that can ritual summon itself from the pendulum zone. That's interesting. The idea that it's coming from the pendulum zone, but it's a ritual summon. That seems kind of dope. Does it use its own pendulum effect to summon itself? I guess that would be like a question I would have. Doom, 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 doom. So I sadly don't have the player armor background saved. I just went through and like tried to find the player armor backgrounds in my Google drawings, but I couldn't find it. So the way that Google Drawing works, it'll save your individual assets if you like save them as their own drawing, but you can just download as the image and then it won't save the assets. So I think on my computer somewhere I have all the pictures of the player armor cards, but I don't have just the background anymore, sadly. So I'm sorry, Kills. I just don't have access to that. John Mason said, well, actually, the first time it wasn't a scene. I wanted to see Beerus fight. Next, when all that destruction happened, Goku actually left Bulma there and went with Vegeta to safety alone. Oh, you feel like he just was cucking Bulma? Maybe he was thinking to himself, if I still have the Dragon Balls, I can just wish Bulma back, no problem. And maybe he's thinking he'll just wish her back. I don't know. I think it's low down for Vegeta to leave Bulma. So yeah, that is kind of shitty. I agree with that. Because Vegeta normally is like, not my Bulma. So it seems kind of gross for him to just leave his wife to die. Kel said, yeah, it uses its pendulum effect to summon itself. It's cool. I'll just find a similar background. Okay, ballin'. It's interesting to look at some of my older edited photos. I saw one that I did for a stop motion project that I like never like followed up on, where I edited like a stop motion Goku onto a drawn West City. It would have been really cool if I was able to like fully do that project because it looks nice. If I had like animated that, I think that would have been dope. Let's see. John Mason said the CGI scenes. Yep, CGI scenes are definitely in my list of cons. Then John Mason said the scene where Goku and Vegeta are fusing kind of annoyed me until they actually fused. The reason why it was like that, also, I just realized it's playing music that's not in my playlist. Shame. For shame, SoundCloud. Here we go. And we're back. So I understand why they did that. They're trying to They're trying to pay homage to the old Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn movie and show off all those other like messed up Gogeta fusions. because you know fans like fucked with that, so they wanted to like say, "Hey, you guys like fan service? We know you like fan service. That's why this franchise is still alive." Hey, hey. So they had to throw it out there so they could get that money. They can put those bad fusions on shirts and people will buy it. That's pretty much it. Kel said, "I don't think the CGI was that bad, but that's just me." And then John Mason said, "Fair enough, Kels. Lol." Yeah, I mean, it's a to each their own thing. I really didn't fuck with it. I've made that very clear. And then John Mason said, "Yeah, but 30 minutes though? Yeah, I mean, you gotta wait for the fusion to wear off. You can't just like undo the fusion. You just gotta like deal with it." While we're talking about Dragon Ball, the first song in the playlist has a bunch of Dragon Ball sound effects in it, like flight sounds and stuff like that. So it was interesting. It was kind of going with the song for a bit in my head. 5 minutes left in the stream, by the way. Feel free to ask me any question. Ooh, I just hit my knuckles directly into each other. Feel free to hit me up with any questions that you may happen to have, or any discussion topics for us to talk about. John Mason said, "Oh right, the soundtrack was cool." Are you talking about the music for the movie? The music for the movie is actually in my cons list for the Broly movie. None of the tracks seemed to fit, and they didn't really bring the hype. So I get that they wanted to do like an orchestral soundtrack for the Broly movie, but I felt like none of the songs fit the action or made the action feel more exciting. When I listen to the songs on my computer, I can clearly hear like the instruments and everything, but when I listened to them in the theater, I could not clearly hear the instruments. I heard the vocals more than anything, and the vocals felt out of place. A lot of the songs that were like Broly, Gogeta, were like that would have worked for like hype if it was before the fight. Like if it's panning and like Gogeta's charging up and Broly's charging up and you're like Broly, Gogeta. I would have like really like vibed with it. But by doing that during the fight, it didn't build up the hype. It just felt out of place. Kell said, "I think the fail fusion scene was realistic. It would be way less realistic if Goku and Vegeta just hit that dab on the first time." I definitely agree with Kells. I feel like they made a big deal about fusion being difficult back in like the Buu saga, so it would have been a little weird if Goku and Vegeta got it on their first try. John Mason said, "Nick, I'm struggling with mental issues and barely have inspiration to do schoolwork or even play video games. I just feel exhausted 24/7 and want to sleep. How do you fix it?" Okay, so how do you fix that? That actually is like a big thing. I actually have a friend who has a similar problem, and they've been trying to work through it. My biggest thing that I would say is try and make your everyday life more hype. Give yourself like motivation to like keep pushing forward by planning hype things in your day and giving yourself something to look forward to. My soundtrack thing that I do when I like make the SoundCloud playlist, it gives me like a set of music that I really like that I can listen to throughout like the whole week and have little theme songs throughout the week of like songs that I fuck with. That's like a very small way to add like hype to your day. But I feel like if you schedule like cool and fun shit for you to do, it can keep you motivated to do all the other stuff that may be a little less fun. So that's what I'd recommend. John Mason said, "Yeah, Broly, Gogeta." He said the placement of the music was lame, but the music itself was good. The music itself, I feel like, was okay, and then I feel like the music in the movie just didn't work for me. Listening to the tracks outside of the film, I can appreciate them for what they are, but I just feel like they still don't do enough for your boy personally. But that's just in my opinion. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, hey, we got a minute and a half left in the stream. If you haven't liked this video yet, make sure to smash that like button. Oh, by the way, I no longer do the thing where at the end of the video I go over my day again. Because I go over my day uninterrupted at the very beginning of the video, that's there and available for people to check out. And because my day is in the description box below, I now at the end of the video just kind of like sign out. John Mason said, "Thanks for the advice. No problem. I hope it's helpful." Another tip that I could give would be gamification. So gamification is where you assign points to things in your day that you don't like. So let's say you really don't fuck with mowing the grass. You can say, if I mow the grass, I earn 50 points. And you'd be like, well, what do you use points for? So you then spend the points that you earn to do stuff that you like to do. So let's say you like to draw, or you like to play video games, or you like to like write. You can then assign point values to those things where you need to spend the points that you earn from doing these things you don't like to do in order to then do the things that you like to do, and make things that you really don't like to do worth more points. That way you get more enjoyment out of spending those points later. So if you really, really don't want to cut the grass, you couldn't imagine yourself cutting the grass. Make it worth more points than other chores that you're more willing to do. That way, you'll be like, well, I don't like cutting the grass, but if it means that I get more time to write, or I get more time to like watch cartoons or play video games, then I guess it's worth it. It starts putting like an economy to things. Kel said, I also got a really cool name for the ritual monster. The monster's name is Future Time Traveler, and the ritual spell is Future Time Machine. I actually really vibe with the ritual spell name. The Future Time Traveler monster name I don't think is bad, but it didn't really like. I didn't hear it and go, ooh, but when I read Future Time Machine, I was like, that's a cool name. So I really like the ritual spell name. The monster name isn't bad, it's just. Then John Mason said, same, same. So now we've hit an hour in the stream, so I'm probably gonna refill this water bottle and then go to bed for the night. I'd like to thank you all once again for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever we do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, logging out. Peace. Right now I'm on the road of monetization, so the more you guys watch of the videos, the closer I'll get to being able to monetize. I think we're at 3,760 something watch time hours, and we need 4,000 watch time hours for the channel to get monetized. So the more videos you watch, the closer we'll get to being monetized. So I'd like to thank you all once again. John Mason said, all right, I'm going to get ready to do some work, or try to. Later, Nick. And he said, nice, good job. I'm releasing my video on MK Friday. Ooh, you're releasing a Mortal Kombat video? That's pretty hope. I mean, I almost said that's pretty hope. That's pretty hype. Is it going to be like a video where you talk about it? Is it an animation that you did? Is it going to be like a drawing showcase? Tell me more, tell me more. Kel said, nice. But yo, thank you all once again for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button, favorite, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell to be notified whenever you do these live streams. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one only, logging out. Oh, it's John Mason's wish list of things that he wants to be in Mortal Kombat 11. Ballin'? Yeah, I'll most definitely check that out. Post that on the Amino.